on behalf of the American people.
Congressman Quigley, the report from Robert Mueller, as quoted by Mr. Barr, the Attorney General, says that the president was not exonerated from obstruction of justice. And then, having quoted the Mueller report, the Attorney General said, but I'm going to exonerate him. What do you make of that sequence of events? It's extraordinary.
Look, Mr. Barr did the job he was assigned to do. It is the singular purpose for him being exactly where he is. He argued against the theory of law that Mueller was theoretically using to deal with an obstruction case before he got there. He never should have been approved by the Senate. But here he is, and we have to face the consequences. And I think not just Mr. Barr, but Mr. Mueller has to appear before Congress to get into the details, not just of the report, but of the underlying documentation they used to make their arguments.
Well, 2 weeks ago, gentlemen, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi told the Washington Post these amazing words: I'm not for impeachment. Impeachment is so divisive to the country that unless there's something so compelling and overwhelming and bipartisan, I don't think we should go down that path because it divides the country. And he's just not worth it. She's talking about the president. In the wake of the special counsel investigation, a Democratic aide tells Politico, you can hurt Trump more without impeaching him. If you're going after him, it has to be a kill shot. But otherwise, you can keep cutting him over and over again and then beat him in 2020. What's your thinking about that? First, from Congressman Jeffries, do you think impeachment should be on the table after this weekend?
Well, for most of us, impeachment was never on the table, and I think Nancy Pelosi, our Speaker, was making two important points. The first point is that we didn't run on impeachment. We didn't win on impeachment. We're not focused on impeachment. We're focused on executing our For the People agenda, lowering health care costs for everyday Americans, enacting a real infrastructure plan, and cleaning up corruption and the mess in Washington, D.C., which we've begun to do with passage of H.R. 1. That was her first point. Her second point was that if we were to even consider going down the impeachment road, the case must be compelling, the evidence must be overwhelming, and the public sentiment around impeachment must be bipartisan in nature. In the absence of any of those three elements, I completely and totally agree, and so do the overwhelming majority of House Democratic caucus members, that impeachment is not the route that we need to go.
Congressman Quigley, I wonder, I'll listen to what Mr. Jeffries says, and I respect him, of course, and I respect you, but how come everybody that stops me at an airport or anywhere I walk, are we going to get rid of this guy? So somehow the people got the idea that the Democrats were going to impeach Trump. Where did they get that idea? The Democrats are the only one that could impeach him, and everybody says to me, when are we going to get rid of this guy? That's their phrase.
Well, look,
where'd that come from?
Well, I think a couple of our colleagues filed articles of impeachment some time ago. The fact is, I would not rule out impeachment. I just said we shouldn't be focused on it. But let the Mueller investigation take its course. Let's find out what's in the Mueller investigation report and the underlying documentation. And remember, there are 12 ongoing criminal investigations that are taking place. There's a lot more information out there, including the House investigation, still dealing with counterintelligence, which is one of the reasons that report and the documentation is so important. Was the president compromised? How does that look before the American public and, of course, the U.S. Senate?
Thank you. Gentlemen, it's so great to have you on tonight. Thank you for coming on this important night. Hakeem Jeffries of New York and Mike Quigley of Illinois. Still ahead, why was President Trump never forced